Welcome to Watercolor 42, Studio 42. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about if you're not overly confident about drawing sometimes, you can paint. But then again, a lot of times you can just do a little bit of wiggling a pencil around on the paper and just kind of paint in whatever you've got out there. Now sometimes I think of a particular subject that I might be able to do. It might be like a flower garden or a farm or a barn or a bridge or something like that. So sometimes I put a little bit of everything into it. And sometimes I end up not knowing exactly how it's going to come out. But surprisingly, some of the things that you do sometimes like this come out pretty good. Now, if you're not quite sure exactly where you want to go with the marker, you can start out with the pencil first. And you can start anywhere. But I put a dot approximately in the center of the paper and kind of divided it up, the paper kind of lightly with the pencil into 4 quarters. And what I want to do is make sure I kind of move the pencil and make something interesting in those 4 quarter areas. Now, whatever comes into my head, I might just put it in. It could be a fence or a mailbox, or it could be a house or trees or whatever it might happen to be, what it might kind of start looking like. I sometimes turn the board around too, look at it from different positions. Okay, so today I'm going to, I know where the center is. I know where the center of the paper is, so now what I have to do is move from there. And sometimes I take the pencil and just go out to the edge and then come back in, go bounce across to the other side, come back up here, come down over here. See how that works? You're just kind of keeping it kind of flowing and loose. I kind of compare it a lot of times to a baton. When somebody is conducting an orchestra, you know how their arms are moving. Well, you can be a conductor today of a drawing, not so much the music, unless you want to put the radio on and play some music for background. That's okay too. I do that a lot. And just kind of move the pencil around. I go back and forth, side to side, and I'm breaking up the area. Now, I've got something going here that's very free and loose. And I guess my baton is working today, right? It's working for me. So you can have some fun with this. You can bounce out to edge, come back in, go over to this side, go back up through here, see what we're doing. Okay, go to that edge of the tape. Now, let's turn it around, and we're looking at it from a different perspective. Now, that's what makes art interesting sometimes, and especially contemporary art, is that everything tends to balance. You know, it has a balance to it. That looks pretty good if you hung it on the wall this way. You can look at it this way. It's a little bit strong through here, kind of in through there. So you can look at it different ways. And when you look at it, sometimes you see something in there. You see a giant fish or a whale or something in there. Let's see if we can break it up just a few more places. Where I see maybe a large area, I cut it in half, okay? I think we're okay as far as this goes. I'm going to kind of close this off in here a little bit like that. And yeah, that's okay. All right, now, what we want to do now is go over that. It's hard for you to see it at home because I did it in pencil. But let's go over it with a marker. Let's hope the marker has some ink in there. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go through this. I'm not going to go back the same way, probably that where I started, but let's do something like this. Let's go across here. And if I don't stay exactly on the pencil line, that's okay. Let's see, let's bring this over here. Sometimes I use my hand to kind of guide it. My other hand, now I like to touch the edge. Touches the edge there. Let's move the board around, see what we got here. Let's see, all right, let's loop around here. Loop around here and go all the way over to this side. And I'm staying pretty much with my pencil marks that I made. I can change it, I can leave out something, or I can put more in. And for the most part, what happens, I put more in than I sometimes take out, or leave out, if you will. Okay, something over here. I'm always looking for some sort of a balance. Let's break this shape up here. I deviated a little bit on that one too. I just kind of subdivided that. Let's take a look at what we have over here. Loop around here. Let's have that touch the edge and come back in here. Go to there. Now, I can pick this up here, or I can just let it go, keep it open for now, and come over to there. If I see anything that I can do to break up something, let's try this. Something in here. Okay, break that up. We've got most everything outlined pretty well. What I did with the pencil. Go to this edge, bounce back over to here. Okay. That's kind of open in here. Let's sort of make sure that touches the edge there. And let's do something to break that, make that shape a little smaller. Come back over here. So even though it's sort of a design, you're still trying to work something out, you know. You still apply the same principles of design or whatever you would consider doing, and thinking about the shape, variety of shapes, size, so forth. And let's see what we got here. It looks pretty good. It looks all right. In the course of doing this, if you, at any time, you can always add some extra lines, or if you want to break up a big shape, like all of that in there, it's kind of busy, so you can make sure that touches out here, and you can subdivide that. I think we're all set on that. Let's take a look at it this way. Now, to tell you the truth, right now, it doesn't look like any particular thing, any particular subject of something. It just looks like, you know, kind of things floating around. And the only thing I can think of now that would be similar to what this thing looked like is sometimes if you see newspapers blowing around in the wind, you know, outside, and how different material will kind of float around, kind of loose. So that's pretty much what I'm thinking of with this right now. I haven't seen any particular thing that could be an object. I probably could put an eye there and make this the body, maybe an arm, maybe a leg or foot, a couple of feet going out different ways. If you want to use your imagination. It's what you might be thinking about when you do something. Like, for example, if I thought of somebody flying an airplane or on a plane, this could be the body of the plane, the pilot sitting in here. And this could be like the tail fin or whatever on the plane. Different things like that. You can always see different shapes in there, like fish shapes, you know, the contour shape of whatever it might be. So anyhow, so we're coming around the bend here. This looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I got everything covered. Now, the next thing we have to do is think of the distribution of what combination of colors you might use. Now, you might be safe if you just use primary colors, use some yellow, so many yellow shapes, so many red shapes, so many blue shapes. You could get away with it that way and whatnot. And the beauty of watercolor, if you don't like a particular shape, you can blot it out pretty much before it dries. Or you can darken it, just give it another coat of watercolor paint and whatnot. So now, what I like to do is the distribution of color. And when I start out, and this is when I do anything, whether it's sort of like a design or abstract picture or whatever it might be, I always start with a lighter color. And yellow, if you're going to use yellow, your red and a blue or something like that, you probably would start with yellow. So maybe let's do this. Let's put a Y in there for yellow, another Y in here, another Y here. What do I have? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I may vary that a little bit as I go along. But then then you have to decide, okay, I want to use red. So red, again, you can use red, R inside that shape, R over here. I just kind of get those colors kind of distributed throughout. They may not always work, so I may have to change. Let's put another red over there. And the other color that we talked about is using some blue. So we can make this a blue. Blue over here. Let's see, 1, 2, blue, yeah. Blue here. Maybe a blue over there. Now there are some areas that I haven't yet filled in. So if you get stuck sometimes, what I just do is leave them just white as a paper, or you can just blacken them in, you know, make them more of a neutral color. So that's the way that works. So we'll start off, we'll do some yellow first and see what happens. Now, you can use a larger brush if you want. Let's see if I can find my other one. Yeah, that's okay. It's about a 1/2 inch flat brush. And we'll just start off with some yellow. And we'll fill in, we'll see, that's a yellow here. So we'll just fill that shape in. Now, if you go over the line a little bit, you know, the mark, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world, because we don't expect you to, I'm going to go up in here and fill in that, even though it just looks like it should be filled in. Okay, we fill this in. And like I've often said, if you want that to be a little bit lighter, you can take some of the paint off your brush here, and you can just pull your brush through here and just pick up some of the paint. So you get a lighter shade of yellow. See, it's like as if it was a sail and you're putting some shadow into it. Something like this. You can see how that works. Okay, now, while I'm using my yellow, I'll do the others so I don't have to keep cleaning my brush all the time. We'll go back, and another one I have yellow is this one here. Now, I don't, like I was saying, I don't have to stick with that color. You can work this all out ahead of time if you want, a little bit more than what I'm doing. You might say I'm sort of winging it today here. Okay, now, another yellow up in here. Just fill that in a little bit. Here we go. Okay. Now, like I said, you might go over a line a little bit, but you know, what I do a lot of times, if I can't cover a particular line, like black marker is hard to hide, but what I do a lot of times is just go over it with the marker again and make some of the outlines wider, and that helps make your design kind of pop back and forth a little bit more, gives it a little bit more depth. Okay, where's another yellow here? Oh, in the corner hiding. Okay, here we go. You fill that. Now, when you're running out of paints, that means you have to either put some more paint on the brush or add some water so you can spread it around. If it starts pulling a little bit hard, you know that you need more water on your brush. And probably some more paint. See how that's coming out a little bit lighter there. This one here, I can go over this one. I'm starting to run out of water on this one, I think. It gets a little bit tricky trying to fill it in. There you go. Now, I have another yellow. Okay. Now, what you can do, you can start noticing as you fill it in, you can see what needs to be done. Let's put another yellow in here, even though I didn't mark it with the pencil yellow. There we go. Okay, fill that in. Do that a little bit up in that corner again. There we are. Okay, now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an uneven number. I suppose I could put, no, I don't want to do that. Let's see, I'll tell you why. I don't want two colors, the same color side by side. It makes too large a shape. I could do another yellow there. Oops, what happened there is that's going to touch this one. So let's save that. We won't paint that yellow just yet. We'll find another color we can use. And if you ever get stuck, like I said, you can always put a neutral color in there. That will take care of just about anything and everything. Okay, here we go. Now, I think I've got most all the ones I was looking at, put the letters in for yellow. So let's go to red, see if we can fill in some of the reds. Okay, here's a red up in here. Now you can have some fun with this. When you do your drawing sometimes, you can just draw, like if you're doing a house or something, just draw the outside contour of that shape and don't go into too much fussy detail. That's one thing you have to be careful of. And I tell everybody all the time that you're better not to get too busy with some of your pictures. Leaves a little bit to the imagination of the viewer. Sometimes if you feel it's necessary to add a little bit of extra, that's okay. But don't overdo it too much. Okay, here's another red here. Now, if you don't get enough paint on the brush, and you got water on the brush, see how light your red gets, it becomes pink. So the only way to solve that is more paint on the brush and make it darker. Excuse me, make it darker. There you go. The beauty of watercolor too, you can give it several coats. You can, if it dries, you can paint another coat on top of that, another coat on top of it. Keep building it up. Okay, this is, oops, that's the blue I marked. Here's red. Fill this one in. Yeah, these things are good. It's a good exercise. Not only drawing free, loose, and so forth, but also color distribution is a good exercise for that. And you apply, no matter what the subject is or how you approach it, you apply some of these same rules to whatever the subject is, you know, the color distribution, so it kind of pulls everything together, unifies it more. Okay. And look, where there's some more. Where did I mark red? Here's a red there. But that's going to be too close to this one. So I have to be careful. Let's take that out for now. There you go. And we'll use something else there. I suppose I could get red up in here. There you go. Sort of pink. Get some more paint on the brush here. There we go, that's better. Short. I have nothing against pink. Pink is a nice color, especially if you're using it for flowers. Fill this in here. Yeah, go right to the edge. All right, what else we have? I think so far the color distribution is working pretty well. That can be red. We'll fill that in. Okay. What else? I suppose we could get away with red right here. Okay. I'm not getting too much paint on my brush here. So I'm getting a lot of pink. And the thing with watercolor, when it does dry, it gets even lighter. It can get lighter. There's a little bit of yellow that went over the marker line, but that's all right. Kind of blends in pretty good. All right, now what do we have red? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna look around and see where I could use red again. Because I can put it right here. Now, as I said before, if you get stuck, some of these areas could be left white, or you can leave them just fill them in with a dark color. Let's see, what do we have here? I had a red, and I had a red there. So I don't want to do that. You really have to kind of look around, see what's going to touch what. Now I got a yellow and a yellow, so I can put red in between. Or pink. You don't have enough paint on the brush, it gets pink. Okay. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So we'll give that a rest for a while, see what else we can do here. This could have got very patriotic if I just did red and blue and white, you know. Make like a flag color. Excuse me. Now I think we said this. Oops. I gotta clean the brush off more than that. Make sure I do a better job. I'm gonna try some blue now. Nice shade of blue. All right, we'll put some blue in here. See if I can get that outline. What I do is a lot of times I just outline it on the outside edge like this, and then fill it in. That's one way of doing it. Okay, and just fill this in here. Just fill it in on the inside. Sometimes I might leave a little bit of white there, so. Or one color might run over into another. See if I get this filled in a little bit better down there in the corner. A little bit more up into here. That's better. Okay. All right. Now I know I've got a little bit of filling in here, a little bit up there. But later on when it dries, I can always clean it up with a marker. Go over it a little bit more. Okay. I guess we can get some blue up in here. We'll fill this in. There we go. Okay. Right down the side here. Okay. Now you notice that even the blues will take on a little bit of variation of shading. You can, like I said before, you just use your brush. Let's say if I wanted to pull some of this out, I could lift some of that color out. That's the beauty of watercolor, because it dries, but you can always wet it and reactivate the paint. So that works pretty good. Let's put a little bit of blue in here. Okay. See, now that's a nice shade of blue. I can go off the edge here because that's tape. Pull the tape off later. Okay, got that one. Now, what else? Those might touch each other. I think I can put blue in between here. There we go. That kind of works pretty good. Okay, that's some blue there. Now, if you're not quite sure what's happening, you want to turn it around, look at it. Again, you want to see a design, look at it in different ways. Let's see. Oh, we could get, I guess we could do something like that. Let's put some blue in here for now. Fill that in. Okay. Yeah. Now, maybe. Let's try it. Let's put some blue here. I got a little bit of yellow there. And sometimes yellow, if you get it mixed into the blue, you start getting a little bit of green shade. Okay. Yeah, move it around. Let's see. Yeah, we can put a little bit better blue down here. There we go. Go right out to the page of the tape if you want. I'm moving it around here. Okay, I can put blue there, or I can put the blue here. Let's do that. We'll fill this shape in here. Put some color in there. Okay. I suppose we can work on, put some blue there. Kind of getting the blue around the outside. What did I say? No, I can't put blue up against blue, so I got to go here. It kind of catches you a little bit off guard sometimes. Wait a minute. I'm not supposed to have too many colors same colors next to each other. Okay, like that. I suppose we can put, let's see, yeah, red. Yeah, we could put some blue in here. Here we go. Pull that right down. And what else? I'm getting an interesting combination of outside colors here that are, this side here has got a lot of like blue, red. This one's got yellow, red, yellow, blue, and so forth. That could go yellow. I move it around. Now, is there any, oh, right here, let's fill this in with some blue. Okay. You get the idea how this kind of works. Sometimes you can back yourself into a corner, you know, and uh-oh. Okay. Get that filled in a little bit more. All right. Now, let's see. Where else can we go? That's going to be tricky here. trying to fill that in because I got, well, maybe not. Maybe, no. Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Don't mind me, I'm talking to myself here. See where we're at. I'm just trying to see where I could put some more blue without it touching something else. I may not be able to right now. So I may have to go back and say, okay, where can I use maybe some yellow again that doesn't touch any of the other colors, like yellow here. You do that. Yellow to yellow. You can't use yellow in there. I probably could get away with yellow. No, touches. Let's see what. Trying to see where we're at here. We could go a little bit of that little wedge in there. That little wedge probably could have been colored in dark. Coming around. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of putting down tile flooring and making a pattern with a tile, like a checkerboard type of thing. I've done it. The checkerboard idea is easy, but then you can get into using 3 colors, so it gets a little bit tricky. And let's see, I'm looking around here. Oh, yeah, I guess I could fill that little area in with yellow. I guess it's not touching too many other things. Not that I'm not crazy about those little shapes, though. They look like they're out of place. Sometimes you could just make them into one larger shape and it might be better off. Where are we here? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to go back, clean the brush, and I could see where maybe I can get away with some red on this one. This particular area here. Fill that in. Okay. I have to keep looking at this. I might be getting a little bit too heavy in one place or another with some of this design stuff. I guess I can get away with some more yellow up there. Put it in between the pink and the blue. Okay. Get a little bit more paint in there. All right, now, if I don't get my brush clean, I'm going to end up with a third color, like orange. Let's see. That's kind of tricky in there, because red is going to touch that. Whatever I put in there, yellow, red, is going to be touching. See what else we can do. Let's see. Oh, maybe. I'm thinking maybe some of these shapes I can break up a little bit more, separate them. That wouldn't hurt. Okay. You see where these things get tricky? you really have to think about it ahead of time, because you're always going to bump into something else along the way. Okay. Well, I'm going to maybe have to have something touch. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make that like a lighter color. Very pale pink. Maybe something, maybe a darker color next to that one. The blue, yellow. Maybe I could get away with some more yellow here. Fill this one in yellow. Okay, yeah, we'll turn it around. Now, sometimes you might run into a situation where your design really doesn't seem to work out as well. That could happen. It may look good before, but then when you start adding color to it, then it gets a little bit tricky. The balance of the distribution of color gets a little bit tricky. So you really have to think about it when you're doing this. Now, what would be easy for me to do would be to go, if I can't solve a particular problem, I can go like to a neutral, just to a darker shade of gray or black or something like that. Let's see what we can do here. No, that's not going to work. Whatever I put in there, say it's going to be the same color. However, maybe I'll have to give in a little bit and put something, another red in there, or very pale pink. Maybe that might work. Now, having said that, I'm going to fill this one in. And that becomes all one large shape. Sort of. Okay. You gotta get something in there. I keep turning it around here. What we can do with it. Let's make this one a little bit. Make this a little bit pink. Okay. Now, this tells you that you know, a lot of these things have to be sort of worked out ahead of time if you don't want some of your colors to be touching. I'm going to make this blue in here. I know it's going to touch somewhere with a blue, but just at that particular point here. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Now, what else? What else? We're almost there. It's just a matter of compromising here a little bit more. I'm going to make that pink or red a little bit more in here. Another way of solving the problem would be to add like a fourth color. You could do that. Or like a purple. Fill that in. Now, if you want to leave some of these areas white, that's okay. And what we'd have to do is to let this dry, and then you can take like your marker. I don't think I can do it yet, but let's say if you wanted to make more of a division between colors, you could, if this is dry enough, you can go over this with the marker kind of carefully and just break it up, you know, kind of, you could call it cleaning it up. If you don't like that particular shape there, what I do is just fill see all that little, this part here? You could make that sort of dark and make that sort of just a negative space. But here's where you'd clean it up. You'd clean it up quite a bit. And fill that in. So you don't see so much the white. That's supposed to be more of a solid color. But fill that in. But you could go around and you can kind of break it up once it's drier. Like this could be wider here. Just kind of clean that up. And by the time you get through, it would look cleaner. It would be all cleaned up. Okay? I don't know if I can get too much more with it. I probably, well, we'll give it a shot, see what happens. There we go. All right. Now, let's fill this in a little bit here. All right. Maybe a little bit more here. Okay. Now, letting it dry. And the big thing, like I said, is now you can come back. If you want to use a ruler, you could use a ruler or just do it freehand. And just clean up these areas. Just make it a little bit thicker here and there. Okay? It depends on how you want to do it. You can have it kind of very clean, or you can make it kind of like a bumpy edge. You know, but whatever you do, you have to kind of repeat it somewhere else. Otherwise, it look kind of funny if you just did something one way and then didn't repeat it somewhere else. So if you're going to do something like, you're going to make it sort of a bumpy edge. I'll just finish this one off. You know, if you're going to do something like this, then you'd have to do it somewhere else. See, something like that. Well, a little bit more texture in here. Then you have to decide how you want the texture to go. Yeah, you could fill that in. Yeah, you could leave a little bit of white coming through if you want. But then again, what happens is a lot of times, if you start getting too choppy with it, it just doesn't look as clean cut, if you will, you know, if you do that. So you really have to spend some time. And myself personally, I think I'd be better off if I cleaned it up with a ruler. Put the ruler down and just take your marker and go right along the edge of the ruler And see how you can clean that edge up? It works a little bit better if you do that. Let's see if I can get this one cleaned up. Okay, let's pull this through here. Move the ruler down a little bit. And just fill that right in. Yeah, you can kind of clean it up a little bit more if you use a ruler. So, now, sometimes your designs work, sometimes they don't. There's not much you can sometimes kind of pull it out, you know, clean it up a bit, but sometimes they don't work as well. It's yeah, you're just experimenting with it. I'm just going to kind of outline a shape in here. We'll clean this up a little bit. Just use your marker, move the ruler a little bit, and kind of clean up that edge. And you can make certain shapes, you know, jump out a little bit more. If I don't like this, I don't like too much white paper showing through, I just go back and just make it solid. Just fill it all in solid. Yeah, we're getting there. Now, a lot of times, by the time you get through, you got this whole thing kind of outlined a little bit. But it takes a little bit of time to do that. Sometimes, if you want, you can do all the variation of thickness of the lines ahead of time with the marker, and then paint it in. Then you don't have to kind of double back and just afterwards clean it up a bit. So there's different ways of doing it. If I had probably more time, I would have probably done the marker first, you know, all of that. And then it's just a matter of filling it in. Now, you'll find sometimes your colors will run, and you can leave it that way. You can take a little bit of blue and put it into another area and repeat that same effect somewhere else. If you repeat something more than once, that looks like you intended it to be there. It's just like here you have something, everything's neat, you know, all kind of clean and in place. Then all of a sudden you break something, you drop it, it plops all over the place. It just takes away from everything else, you know, if one area doesn't look good. So you have to be careful that you don't have that problem. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes these things come out and they look pretty good. Now, a lot of times lately I've been putting the tape on ahead of time, and it's okay. You can go to the edge of the tape. Sometimes a little bit of the paint gets underneath the tape, so you have to be careful about that. So you can see how that's a, I guess you could get away with calling it like a false matte that you could put on the work. So you end up with something like this. Now, where this gets a little bit on the kind of unclean side, I would have to kind of go back and really spend some time cleaning up around the whole contour. But when you do that, then the whole thing would look better, okay? It would come out a little bit better. You turn it around, there's not any particular way I'd hang it up on the wall. Could look good this way, this way. I used to kid about these abstract things. No matter the way you hang them up, you know, you could have a different painting every day just by turning it around on the wall, that type of thing. And that's the way that would work out. So anyway, now that's one way of experimenting with it. But the thing is that I think if you had more of an idea, like the subject in mind, like fish floating around in there, probably it would make more sense and pull together a little bit better. When you do something that's sort of loose like this, it's sort of hit or miss. Maybe it will come out okay, and maybe it won't. So all I could say is we'll try it again next time, do something else, and until then, thanks a lot for being with us. Brushes up. Take care.